Hello and welcome to the Classroom Connection, the show that takes you inside Marion County Public Schools. I'm Kevin Christian, and coming up on today's show, you'll see how everything is beautiful thanks to a beautification project at one local school. Find out what it takes to get schools ready over the summer for the first day of school, and then learn how one unsuccessful football program hopes to use another school's winning program to turn things around. Up first, though, we've shared the story of Legacy Elementary with you over the last few months, how it was fully paid for before construction even started, how its opening affects other schools, and how technologically advanced that campus is. But how did things go when students finally hit the campus for the first time? Chadwick Pierce shares the answers with us.
The buses pull up, the students file in, the bell goes off, and class is in session at Legacy Elementary, and the first week could not have gone any better.
The first week went very smoothly. Everybody was very excited and everybody cooperated, parents, teachers, students. It just seemed like we were always here. Procedures were followed and it went very smoothly.
The faculty and the students seem to be very happy with their new surroundings.
I go into the lunchroom usually every day and have conversations with the students, and they're still very excited about it, even though we're on day 9 already. Just love the new school and how pretty it is, and I've heard wonderful comments about their teachers, and I hope that you can get into some of the classrooms and see how very well decorated they are, and teachers had everything just perfect for them when they came in.
Before any students showed up, there was some paperwork to take care of.
We had a lot of new registrations and we're very busy with that. And a lot of parents who didn't necessarily get the directive that they were coming to a new school, so some surprises that way. So we were definitely on our toes and busily putting children into classes. But on the whole, the transition went really, really well. We got started, got kids in class, and with very little turnover time. So we were very pleased.
They were pleased, and so were the teachers.
Our first week went really smoothly. Everything just fell into place. Our students were very excited about coming. Our parents were very excited about their students, their children coming. We didn't really have any glitches at all, except I think the car line was extremely long in the afternoon. That's pretty much worked out. They finished yesterday about 2:31, so they're on track. But everything went very smoothly, and we're loving Legacy.
One student loves it for a couple of reasons.
I like my classroom better because it's bigger than my other classroom because I was just in a portable. So it was about half of this classroom. The work was easy. Last year it was kind of harder. This year, well, I haven't done that much work except for like set up my planner and stuff. But my teacher is nicer than my one teacher. I hope she doesn't see this channel though. But
no matter what grade you're in, there is a goal set for this school already.
We're starting here, this is kindergarten, but we're moving up, and to have a vision so that we are all doing what we need to do day by day to prepare the students in Marion County that they can leave their own legacy for good in this community.
Legacy is projected to have 573 students this year. On the first day of class, they had just 4 shy of that very number. And while a lot of people focused on getting Legacy off the ground, nearly 50 other schools were waking up from summer hibernation. Even though these schools have been around for years and even decades, it still takes a tremendous amount of effort and coordination to get them all up and running again. Joel Hartley has that story.
Hello, man. Can I help desk?
After a peaceful summer, the help desk was hopping once the teachers returned. Using the network, techs normally can solve about 25% of the calls from their seat, resetting passwords, updating software, and dealing with printer issues. But with an average of 600 calls a day, they were so swamped simply answering the phone, they had no time to remote into the problem computers. And with less than 30 people to service 50 schools, it can take a few days to get the problem resolved. Now that the call volume has dropped by about 50%, turnaround time has been cut too. A subset of those hundreds of calls is AV equipment, which falls to the television media production department. In addition to producing this show, it's responsible for maintaining over 1,000 engaged classrooms, working on projectors, reprogramming wall controllers, and the like, and in some cases doing so even as students arrived for orientation.
Calls to the district help desk have slowed down somewhat, but you can bet they'll pick back up again in January when students and teachers return from Christmas break. Well, big box store Lowe's was also busy getting one campus ready for the new school year, making everything beautiful all over again. Once again, here's Joe Hartley.
Since Osceola Middle School is starting to show its age, it is almost 90 after all, David Steffi helped start a beautification project to spruce up the outside.
The goal is to 2 or 3 times a year have student, teacher, faculty work days on the weekend where we can get together and just spruce it up. Maybe some trimming of some hedges, weeding, and planting some plants. We quickly found out it's expensive to do with very little or no equipment and no budget for plants and mulch, and so we've done fundraisers over the years. Our ag department's been very helpful. They've grown a lot of our plants for us that we have then replanted. But when it all comes down to it, unfortunately, like most everything else, it takes money, and that's where Lowe's has stepped in and been a huge help. I applied for several grants through the corporate and was denied, probably because I didn't write the grant well, I don't know, but what was nice was I had made connections through the local stores, so when they were given money, they quickly called me and said, listen, we remember you and we remember your project, we want to still help.
He told me that Osceola Middle School had a great need for some resources. Lowe's, nationwide, we have a program called Lowe's Heroes Project, and what that does is that allows our employees to volunteer their time and services and get out in our local communities so we can make an effort and a positive situation here for our community and for the school.
Being turned down for the grant actually worked to Steffi's benefit. Rather than a simple cash donation, he got help from not one, but 2 Lowe's stores, meaning more volunteers and more spending power.
Having the resources and having that funding, it allows us to stretch that money a little bit farther than we normally could, or somebody could, and it's fantastic. We've actually partnered as well. There's another Lowe's here in town. We've partnered with them as well, so we combined our resources, so that's why you're seeing a lot of volunteers out here today, and also partnered up with our financial money that we're able to give back to the school.
A $2,500 grant from both stores turns into, you know, at their cost, turns into more like $4,000 or $5,000, and so we're able to pick up shrubs and trees. We're able to pick up picnic tables, and it's going to look nice. We didn't expect to do it in the middle of the summer, but we wanted to have it done for our students when they come back because we want to present to them a beautiful campus.
Not only a beautiful campus, but a more useful, comfortable campus as well.
David had a vision, so when we were out here and we started this, the walk around, notice behind me there's some picnic tables. This school alone, they have a free breakfast program that they allow students to come here and eat breakfast for free in the mornings. They had nowhere to sit, so a lot of the students were sitting here on the ground on the sidewalk.
We don't have enough room in our cafeteria, so our students have to basically sit on a block wall and eat. And so by installing these outdoor picnic tables, they'll have basically an outdoor cafeteria in the morning to eat. It's a little more dignified than sitting on a block wall.
We don't have to hold our trays in our laps anymore, and we won't have to get our pants and shirts dirty because of the dirt behind us, and we can sit on the table.
Thanks again to Lowe's and the volunteers for their hard work at Osceola Middle School. Now, imagine this. You are a brand new first-year teacher, excited about working with your students and building those great relationships. Then you and every other first-year teacher are laid off because of the budget crunch. What do you do? Where do you go? And before you even answer those questions, the district calls you back to offer you back your former position. Well, that's exactly what happened to many teachers this summer, including Dave Jones. Here is his story.
There's been a lot of ups and downs with it. I remember when they told us that, that we were being let go, that was the first question that we had was, okay, is there a possibility of being recalled? And they said they weren't sure at the time, so that we I know my wife and I sat down and decided, okay, let's go ahead and start looking. We want to keep hope out that we'll get called back so we didn't have to move, but ideally, yeah, we would have to probably start looking for something else.
Fortunately for Forest High band teacher Dave Jones, he was among the first teachers rehired.
Music teachers were definitely lucky in the fact that they were one of the first groups recalled. So it was only about 2 or 3 weeks after school let out that we got notice that most of us would be rehired from the music side of things. But I know for myself it was well timed because I actually had to make a decision that day on whether to accept a job out of state or not.
Jones students and their parents were quick to trumpet their support for their ousted director.
I feel like my situation was pretty special in that my kids were very, very proactive about it from day one. When they found out everything that was going on, my parent group rallied together and started becoming huge advocates for our program. They started doing a letter writing campaign to the school board. They organized, as part of the protests that were happening, band members and band parents were constantly there. I know they had band members playing out in front of every school board meeting that summer, just kind of as a constant reminder, even if it wasn't right in their face, it was just kind of this constant reminder in the background that, hey, you know, this is something that is affecting the students, not just the teacher that was laid off.
While he hung in employment limbo, Jones continued to serve as Forest's band director, either for the benefit of himself or his replacement, but mostly for the kids.
Well, I took the approach over the summer of business as usual until we know something else. So even though I really wasn't officially hired or anything, I was still keeping everything going as if I were coming back the next year or until they hired somebody else. That way for the kids, there wasn't this huge drop-off with the program over the summer. I've been in the opposite position before where I was coming in after somebody who was let go, and I remember how tough of a transition that was for the kids and even for myself as a new teacher at that time. So my goal over the summer was to keep things going to where if someone was coming in after me, that transition would be smooth, especially for the kids.
The last thing he wanted was to lose any momentum he had built in rebuilding a 90-year-old band program.
Some years it's been up at 100 and some years it's been down at 10 since the beginning of it in 1922. But there's always been a program. With our size of school, it definitely should be a lot larger. Getting more kids involved in the program, and even not just the band side, but just the music program in general. I know our guitar program has grown massively over the last year. We've started a keyboard class that has gotten a lot more of the students involved that wouldn't normally be participating in a music class. We started a guard program, so we're getting the dance aspect in. So just growing our arts program in general at Forest.
He's seen funding cut for music programs. He's trying to revive a faltering program. He's been laid off. Why doesn't he just give up?
It's what I love doing. And I love seeing the kids excited about performing in music, even if they're not going to make a career out of it. It's something that can be shared across different cliques, different cultures, different ethnicities. They can all kind of share in it together. It's one of the few things that you can have a universal understanding for on a school campus.
Of the 161 first-year teachers laid off, 159 were recalled by the district, meaning they were offered either their old position back or another position within the district. Well, we've all heard the old saying that imitation is the best form of flattery. So Lake Weir High School's football coach is using that same approach to make his program a winning success. His inspiration? Coach Craig Damon and his program at North Marion High School. Building and maintaining such success does not come easy, though. So here's Joe Hartley again to explain how things are going so far.
13 seasons, 13 playoff appearances, 8 district titles. North Marion's Craig Damon is one of the most successful coaches in Marion County history. Winless seasons, 2 playoff appearances in 50 years. Everybody's homecoming opponent. Lake Weir is the least successful program in Marion County history. On the final Friday before the season, the two opposites met in a game that, while it may not count, impressed Damon and emboldened Lake Weir coach Jason Robinson.
That's some of the best effort I've seen a Lake Weir team put on the field since I've been here. You guys played hard, you played fast, you played physical. All right, we got to fix a few mistakes.
I think Friday night proved that we can run with the big dogs. We are as physical or more physical than the team that we played Friday night. And we showed that we're willing to go in there and hit and be competitive.
Very physical, and they have some speed on the field. I mean, it was usually we're a little bit faster than the opponents that we played, but they matched up with us pretty good speed-wise, and they played physical there for a little bit. I think we might have a little bit more depth than they had, and it sort of paid off for us, in the second half. But they are going to be a team to be reckoned with this year.
That's where you start, is start earning that respect and belief that you can win. Once you believe that you can win, then it's a matter of going out there and doing it. And it takes one of those games where you do finally execute in the key moments and you go get the win. And then from there it can steamroll into winning week in and week out. And once you do that, once the kids believe they can win every time they step on the field, as a coach, you just got to make sure you got to call in the right plays and put them in the right spots. The rest is going to take care of itself.
He's headed in the right direction. I mean, there's an excitement in that program that we hadn't seen in a while. And it's just a matter of him staying patient and sticking with what he's doing, and it's going to pay off for him.
Building success when there's little foundation can be quite a challenge.
Anytime you take over a program that's known for losing, it's all about culture and trying to change the culture. One of the biggest obstacles that we had is when I came in 2 years ago, we just didn't have a whole lot of talent. We had a few guys that could play football, but in general, our numbers were, we had numbers, but we didn't have kids that were varsity ready. We didn't have kids that had a lot of varsity experience. A couple years before I got here, they had a couple winning seasons and done a nice job. And my goal was to kind of pick up where they left off, but try and turn Lake Weir into a winner year in and year out. Now, that doesn't always happen at the high school level because of the ebb and flow of talent, but if you get your program to where it should be, you have a chance to win year in and year out, and I think that's what we're trying to become.
That's what North Marion has become under Damon, but keeping it that way isn't easy either.
I think sometimes it might be a little bit easier to build the program because the expectations aren't there yet, and you're trying to get guys to convince them, than to maintain. Once you're there, you have to fight off complacency. I think my job or the role here at North Marion is just as tough as it is at Lake Weir because, when you're down and you're trying to get up to a certain level, you're always making strides and you can measure gains, but when you've been there for a while and, sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself as a coach to keep from getting complacent.
One thing that can motivate a coach is the fan base. And for the Colt faithful, just winning isn't enough anymore.
The expectations from our community, getting there every year, it don't get any easier. I mean, it's a whole lot of pressure to get there because no class wants to be the first class, senior class, to not make the playoffs. So that part of it makes it tough. But our kids, they expect to be in the playoffs. And, from the time that the 6th and 7th grade watching the high school teams over here play and making the playoffs and doing well in the playoffs, when they get here, they expect to be in the playoffs. So I think the culture sort of changed here a little bit where it wasn't a deal where we just want to have a winning season. though. We're going to win a district title and we're going to be in the playoffs and we're going to go as far as we can go, and that changed.
Similarly, Lake Weir's recent, albeit limited success has created maybe not heightened expectations, but at least heightened goals.
We've only talked about one goal this year, and that's we want to win a district championship. It's never been done here, ever. It's never been done. They've been to the playoffs, but they've never won a district championship. So we've got to get that done. Obviously playoffs would be a great, runner-up would be a great plan B, but we want to hang that first banner. These kids all want to be a part of setting history here.
While Robinson's looking for that first district title, Damon has spent over a decade unsuccessfully chasing a state crown. But he realizes the empty trophy case doesn't equal a failed career. Far from it.
It's not about state titles, and I guess it's shown that I've grown a little bit because 13 years ago, when I first started as a head coach, it was, you got to win a state title. That's going to define me. If I don't win a state title, then that's what you're judged on. That's what you evaluate on, measured on. And now as I've been here, that 13th, 14th year, I'd love to win a state title, but people forget who won a state title after a year, 2 years. You have to look it up to see who won the state title in 5A 3 years ago. So that wasn't quite as important, but seeing kids go off and get an education that may not have gotten an education without playing football here at North Marion, to get the opportunity to get a degree, maybe a chance to continue their career in football, but more importantly, to go out in our community and be a great citizen, have a job, hold a job, be accountable in your job and raise a family and be successful, and then see some of those kids come back. That to me, that's the biggest thrill.
In a surprise move, Damon recently announced he would leave North Marion for a job with the Florida High School Athletic Association.
Overall, everybody was devastated and shocked at the same time. Everybody had a surprised attitude about it, raised eyebrows, tears. And yeah, I know for sure that I was really emotional about it because he stuck by my side through a lot of tough situations that have been going on through, my high school career. So I think it took a large toll on everybody around us in the community.
About 6 years ago, I got involved with the Florida High School Athletic Association Football Advisory Committee and served on there for a couple of terms, and just seeing the interactions and the things that was going on there and the direction that the association was going, it always was something in the back of my mind that if I didn't get an administration at a school level, that would be a possibility that I would be interested in pursuing that. And it was just an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. Bittersweet because I miss the interaction with the kids, not just football players, but the students on a daily basis. I probably hit as many non-football students, kids that don't even play sports, come up to me and talk about, miss me being here, as I have my athletes. So the day-to-day interaction with the students, yeah, I miss that part of it.
Hey, let's go!
I'm a bit sad that he's leaving, but I'm also happy for him. But that because this is part of his future, part of his life. So understanding that this is something that he wanted to do, we all have to respect that we all have aspects and dreams in life that we want to achieve.
Dang it! Come on, Malik!
I've always told the kids to not be complacent, be satisfied with where they are, to always push for higher goals and set high goals and push yourself to achieve those goals. And if I'm not doing that, then how can I expect those kids to do the same?
No doubt Damon loved his coaching job, but he sees his new position as yet one more way that he can help students. Well, someone else who loves their job is school counselor Ted Nichols. He's the subject of this month's Why I Love My Job segment, and here's his story in his own words.
Well, I get to interact with the kids in a different way than as a teacher. I love problem solving and all the little nuances of that. Love working with the staff to help kids out. Love working with the kids so that they can help see a path for their future and how they can get across the graduation line, the goal for these 4 years. And it's kind of fun watching them grow up. That's really neat. But being able with the cohort, because right now, each class that has come in the last 4 years has a different requirement for graduation. So being with the cohort, you know what they started with rather than waiting the seniors, okay, what did they need when they were freshmen? And this way here, again, we get a consistency of, we know what the kid has had, what the kid needs for his goals, rather than just looking at a fresh kid every year. Interacting with the students, obviously. I know even teachers would say that. But, there are some rewards. Sometimes, some students will come in, a little shy, and watching them bloom over the next 4 years. A teacher only gets to see the student usually 1 year. They don't get to watch them grow. And I think that's neat. It is kind of bittersweet because, like I said, you watch these students grow up, and you start learning some of their likes and dislikes. And some, even crossing the stage, are still going to be a little bit timid. And working hard on some of the kids who may have struggled within the freshman year, and knowing that they'll be okay.
Leading his first full school year as superintendent, George Tomlin also enjoys his job, and he has some important information to share with us at this point.
I bring you greetings from the Marion County Public Schools boardroom. However, as your superintendent, I really don't like to spend much time here. I'd like to be out in our schools visiting what's going on in our fantastic school sites. I would like to tell you that this year is off to a fantastic start. We are almost at our projected enrollment, and it's only the 10th day of school. Each year we project the number of students that we are going to have in our school system, and we base our budget upon those numbers. This year we predict or project that we're going to have almost 42,000 students. As of the 10th day of school, we have almost reached that number. We usually don't reach that number until October, so we're excited that we are going to have full classrooms and full staffs at all of our schools. During the month of September, our principals will be balancing classes to making sure that those classes are even all across our district, and our district staff will be, in some cases, transferring some teachers from one school to the next to make sure that we meet, or at least attempt to meet, our class size requirements. Our flagship elementary school, Legacy Elementary School, opened with flying colors. Yes, we did have some bus challenges. Yes, we did have some enrollment challenges, but everyone at that new school site is excited to be in their new environment. That helped relieve the pressure at 2 other schools, especially Bellevue Santos and Greenway Elementary School. I, again, can't say enough to thank all of our administrators and all of our teachers and all the people who work very hard in our schools. I'm excited about school year 2013-14. I hope you are too. Watch out for school buses on the highways each morning and each afternoon, and we appreciate what you do for the Marion County Public Schools.
Thanks, Mr. Tomlin, and thank you for joining us today on the Classroom Connection. We hope to see you again here real soon. Until then, parents, remember, be there for your child every day.